Hey, it's your girl Nell, and welcome to another episode of Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe and hit that like button or the thumbs up button. And do not forget to click on the notification bell so that you will know each and every time I hop into the Tiny Studio. Okay then, so I am in the Tiny Studio and I am feeling pretty decent today. This is a video that I probably recorded yesterday because I just feel like if I'm feeling good, let me just get it all in. And this is, I'm not going to hold you long at all with this video. However, I had promised you that I would show you some of the things that I've been collecting. I love depression glass. I love vintage Pyrex. So I've been collecting vintage depression glass for a very long time. I want to say for about 25 years. But I only have a few pieces, and a couple of pieces, met some unfortunate accidents in the past. So I've been collecting again. I've started collecting again. I believe there's a video that I've shown that's here on the channel where I talked about some depression glass that I purchased. It was like yellow. It was beautiful. I believe I did do that. Did I do that, Tiny Studio Sister? She doesn't remember. But I think I kind of did. I think I did. So anyhow, I want to show you the Federal Normandy depression glass that I purchased maybe back in October when I think I told you I was in the process of setting up a baking station in my kitchen, and then I wanted to get my home prepared for the fall winter season. So my dining room table is set up for the fall winter season. So I have it, set plates and bowls and cups and things like that. I'm kind of frou-frou like that. However, on my dining room table, I have some beautiful pieces that I bought back in October, depression glass, and I'd like to share that with you today. So the first thing I'd like to share with you is, well, there are only two things, is my beautiful Federal Normandy pattern depression glass. I love this so much. Look at it. Isn't that beautiful? You see how it's iridescent? It's in a beautiful pattern of amber. Look at that. And you can see the design on the outer edge or the rim of the plate, but it's smooth here. However, on the opposite side, you can feel the pattern. It's just so beautiful. I love this. This type of depression glass is sometimes confused or compared or known as carnival glass. However, this is not carnival glass. Carnival glass was made between 1910 and 1920. This is depression glass, and this glass plate, this Federal Normandy plate, was made in the 1930s. Now, I not only purchased a set, well, I think it was like, I think there were 6 of these plates I was able to get from the seller, purchased from the seller. And isn't that beautiful? And these, of course, are your divided plates. So you can have your protein here and then maybe some vegetables in these 2 sections. These are called, what they're called or known as grill plates. Isn't this beautiful? So these are sitting on my dining room table right now. Aren't they beautiful? They're so iridescent. I love that. But as I said, this is not carnival glass. 2 different things, 2 different time periods. This is depression glass. And along with that, I purchased a set of the berry bowls. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. And as you see, the pattern, you can't feel it around the inside, and you can't feel the pattern on the inside of the bowl. You can see it, but the pattern is pressed into the back. So just think of it. You have a mold, and the mold is hot, and you have a design inside the mold, and then you put your molten glass with whatever crystals is inside of the sand. It's already melted, and then you place it into the mold, right into the mold. And the only thing that, and then so the design pattern from the mold only hits the outside of the plate or the bowl or the saucer or the cup. And then the inside of the plate is smooth. Isn't that something? I really love it. These are called berry bowls. They're very small. So I was able to get the set from the same seller, as a matter of fact. I was able to get the grill plate and the berry bowl. And I got kind of sidetracked because yesterday I showed you my Pyrex collection. I got sidetracked from my depression glass to the milk glass, and then I jumped into the whole Pyrex of it all. However, we got to really do something about the fruit flies. We got to, you know what? I think I'm going to make a pie out of those apples that are sitting on the table. I'm just going to make a pie out of them because it doesn't seem like anyone is eating them. I'm not eating them. When was the last time I had an apple? 2 days ago. I had an apple a couple of days ago. You know, nobody's eating the apples. I have a fruit fruit thing on the dining room table, and it had bananas and all that stuff on there, and it attracts the fruit flies, and it's just ridiculous. Every time I turn on a light here in the tiny studio, bam, somebody wants to make an appearance that I didn't invite. So anyhow, as I was saying, if you remember, I was really into the depression glass collecting. And then as I began to get into designing my baking station in my kitchen, I fell into the Pyrex hole. So I started collecting that. But I'm really still excited about, getting back into depression glass. So I'm going to contact the seller and see if she still have the soup bowls and the saucers and cups, coffee cups to go with them, because she had all of that. It was part of her great grandmother's collection, and she said it was just sitting up in the attic, and she decided to go through it. And she's been placing them on social media, not social media. Yeah, she's been placing them on social media. I found her on Etsy, and then she was like selling them on Etsy, and then I saw some of her things on eBay. So I'm going to look her up and find out if she still have the coffee cups and saucers. But I love these so much, and they're in the color of amber. They're just so beautiful. I like them so much. Now remember, depression glass is called that because it came out or was manufactured right before the Great Depression, which will be in the 1920s, all the way up through the Great Depression, which is your 30s, into the 1940s. And then there's a cutoff date, cutoff year right around 1945. So these were some great plates. What was the purpose of depression glass? Or what was the purpose of this type of glass? Well, it was cheap. Okay, it was cheap glass. They were beautiful pieces of work, even though they were cheap. And a lot of your more wealthier Americans were into crystals and china and things of that nature, of beautiful, beautiful pieces of cut glass for dining ware. And for the everyday person, depression glass was a good option. They were beautiful in nature. As you see, this was, iridescent. So that's beautiful, classy. And they were cheap, for the most part. A lot of times, people would, banks, if there was a bank, different stores would sell you or have a advertising thing going on where they would say, a marketing plan where they would say, if you buy 2 boxes of oatmeal, then you'll get a berry plate. You know, you'll get a berry bowl. Or let's say if you buy $5 worth of laundry detergent or $5 worth of groceries, you know, you get 1 plate, you know. And so what happens is people, that was like a marketing strategy. And so people would, you know, go into the store and purchase more things because of course you want a what? You want a set, right? So this is how manufacturers or stores were able to get repeat customers. And this is how glass manufacturers were able to build a loyal base of customers. Because then, you know, let's say you missed out on the deal. You came back, you know, thinking that you're going to be able to complete your set of dishes, and then the store has moved on to another promotional thing. So you were able to contact that glass manufacturer and or at your local Macy's, Dillard's, whatever, JC Penney's, Cunningham's, your dime store, and you may have been able to go into those stores and they would have the collection or the line of depression glassware that you were trying to build, or you might have discovered something else that you liked from a glass manufacturer at your local department store or your local dime store. So it was really a great for many stores who was using depression glass as promotional gigs, promotional ads. That was really a good thing. And then for a lot of your dime stores and your department stores to actually carry the glass manufacturers dishware, that was a great thing too, because if you did not or had not gone to the store and seen been a part of a promotional ad, if you were just shopping in a catalog or you just happened to go into the store and you see a display from the Federal Glass Company, you would be like, oh hey, I like this, let me acquire a set, you know. And there you have it. Let me give you some information about this particular set. I pulled it up and let's see. So as I said, this particular pattern is called the Normandy. This is called the Normandy, and it was made by the Federal Glass Manufacturing Company. So let me just say, okay, let me give you some information on why this is not carnival glass, okay? The historian lets us know that carnival glass is older than depression glass. It is colored pressed glass with surface iridescence fired on, made in America between 1900 and 1925. And this comes from the book called First Book of Carnival Glass, written by Marion Hartung. Okay, so in order to make carnival glass, there are 2 steps. First, the glass was pressed in the molds, and after it was done, metallic salts were sprayed onto the pieces, and then they were refired, resulting in an iridescent finish. Okay, but this is called iridescent depression glass, and it was produced in the same way with one major difference. Depression glass was made entirely by machine, while each piece of carnival glass was sprayed and finished by hand. Okay, so that's the difference as well. Not just the year, but it's also the way it was produced. That's what tells you, distinguishes carnival glass from depression glass. Okay, so let's get into the Normandy. Okay, first of all, the Federal Glass Company was among the first to recognize the demand for economical glassware and was quick to capitalize on it. Among the first fully automated glass factories, they produced large quantities of machine-made glass dinnerware during the Depression years and continue glass production today. That's an interesting fact. Normandy, this is the Normandy, was produced from 1933 to 1940 during the same time that the Madrid, Patrician, and Sharon were made. Now, the Madrid pattern, I have that. Those were the yellow, the beautiful yellow or gold depression plates that I showed you in my collection. That is the Madrid pattern. I have cups, saucers, and I have plates to go with that, the Madrid pattern. Okay, although it's available in amber and pink, iridescent Normandy, known as sunburst, is the most commonly found color. Federal seems to be saving the amber and pink glass for their other patterns. Though harder to find, pink and amber Normandy are beautiful. So if you like the pattern but don't like iridescent glass, try one of these other flavors. So the iridescent Normandy was recognized by carnival collectors years before Miss Weatherman published her first Depression glass books. Okay, now she gets into some other things about the Normandy. However, this is what Miss Weatherman, and let me get her first name. I don't like to not have names in these pieces, but and I don't see her last name listed here. It just says Weatherman. Okay, anyhow, she said the Normandy is the official name for this beautifully wrought mold etched design of Federals. It was not from an old carnival mold as it is widely believed, but was made especially for the new pink mold etched glassware that was coming in vogue. It was first made in 1933 in rose glow and crystal. A year later, a color called sunburst was created by spraying an iridescent amber onto the patterned crystalware and then firing in on so well that some people today might think it's true carnival glass. Okay? So this amber is called sunburst. And yes, it seems like it and looks like it could be carnival glass, but it's not. It was made in 1933. And this is what makes buying vintage things such a wonderful thing for me. Buying vintage items is because, as I said in my previous video, they've had a different life. They've had a previous life. This bowl, these two items may be on its way to about being 90 years old. However, my family and I plan to use them. We plan to eat off of them. I believe have we eaten off of these yet? Tiny Studio Sis, or did we eat off the yellow ones?
I believe we used the yellow ones, but we haven't used them.
Right, we use the Madrid pattern. We've eaten off of those, but we haven't used these just yet. So, I think that it's time that we do. So maybe we'll do it for Sunday dinner. We'll do it, and we'll put some fruit in this one. Maybe I'll make some apple sauce or something from the apples. I have a lot of them, so maybe I'll make a pie and then make some. My mom used to make this apple crumpler dish. It's really good. That might go well in here, and then put some more berries on top of that as well. But anyhow, this is my Federal Glass Company beautiful grill plate in the Normandy pattern, the Normandy iridescent pattern. You see how it's just so iridescent? It's beautiful. It is so beautiful. This plate was made in 1933, or at least between 1933 and 1940, which was, I would say, would make this plate about 90 years of age. or at least coming up on 90. And it feels substantial. It's not what? It's not delicate. It's very substantial. It's hardy. Yes, you can break it because it's glass, of course, but it's a hardy plate. Look at that pattern on the back. Isn't that beautiful? That's right. And as I said before, these are dishes that are made to be used. Do not be afraid of purchasing vintage items. Never be afraid of that. Go ahead and purchase them and use them. Give them a new life. They were made to last generations. They were made to last lifetimes. So go ahead and use them. As I said, there was a seller that was this was part of her great grandmother's collection, and she was selling the bowls and the coffee mugs and saucers and all of that stuff. And I meant to go ahead and haggle with her over the soup bowls and the cups and saucers, but I got sidetracked by some Pyrex. And you know how that happened is when you're talking about depression glass, you're talking about that period of time from, let's say 1925 to 1940, you start really getting into some interesting things and start learning a lot of information. And when you go into depression glass, you also get into milk glass. And milk glass, you fall down the hold of Pyrex and Fire King and all of that. And then it's like a mess. It's a mess. But anyhow, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And thank you once again for being a subscriber to Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you sticking with me as I go through all of these changes that I'm going through. As you see, I finally have my gray curtains up. I'm still not sure about this painting. It's sitting there. I like it. It's okay, but I'm not sure about it just yet. And I want to put my Grogu picture up, and I want to put my Grogu clock up, but there's no space to put it there. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with this painting. Am I going to, keep it or put it back in storage and put something else up there? I don't know. I don't know yet. I have my curtains here. My son still hasn't put up my new blinds, so I'm waiting on that. But it's something about these curtains right here that I saw them at Target, and I thought that they were really good blackout curtains, but they're not. They're not as heavy as the black ones that was sitting there. They're kind of flimsy and cheapified. I mean, they feel thin, and I don't like that. I think the black curtains that I had up there, I think those were better. I see right now that I basically talked some of my lipstick off, so I guess it's time for me to hop off of here, right? Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And once again, thank you for subscribing, and keep up with me on the community posts here on YouTube. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next time here in the Tiny Studio. Bye-bye.